Here's how the guy who launched City Winery in New York, the very week that the collapse of Lehman Brothers triggered the Great Recession, describes his supreme confidence on that day back in 2008.
You're Meshuggah, you're out of your mind.
And here's how the guy who launched a hugely successful music venue in New York back in the 90s describes his supreme musical talent.
I sucked. I have no musical ability whatsoever.
So how did a good Jewish boy from Milwaukee launch both the City Winery franchise and the Knitting Factory?
I can't help but use the word chutzpah. You need to have a little bit of that. You got to be willing to, shoulder certain risk.
As a kid, Michael Dorf loved live music so much, even without musical talent, that he drained his bar mitzvah savings, quit law school, and moved to New York, determined to be a fifth Beatle kind of guy, a promoter, and developed the Knitting Factory.
It was an attempt to really be around music and live and breathe it without actually being able to play it.
And for the sake of all his buddies who did play in bands, Michael was determined to correct the pitfalls of other music venues.
A better system of pay, a better experience for the musicians and the customer. And if the artist is having a better time, they're putting on a better show. And then the fan is going to come home and go, I just saw the greatest show I ever saw.
Eventually, Michael moved on from the Knitting Factory.
And then I was wandering in the desert. It wasn't like, I've got a better idea, now I'm going to go do it.
Michael developed Hebrew Tribeca, an after-school program, and a nonprofit at Carnegie Hall to develop music education programs. But in 2004, on a trip to California wine country, he got bitten by the wine bug.
And I really drank the Kool-Aid on winemaking. I just found it to be unique and profound.
But he didn't just want to open a wine store. He wanted to create an intimate concert setting for live music and use that to get people in the door and willing to drink wine that was made on site.
And there's an old saying in winemaking, it's easy to make really good wine, it's hard to sell it.
And launching City Winery was far more daunting than starting the Knitting Factory, even aside from the Great Recession. Michael had a family now. He was investing other people's money, much more at stake. But somehow the concept took off, and besides New York, there are now 2 city wineries in Chicago, and 1 each in Philadelphia, Boston, Washington, Nashville, and Atlanta.
The last thing we want to be is a McDonald's, right? Every city, every location, we want to feel very local.
The company contracts with about 40 vineyards around the country.
So we're an actual urban winery. We buy the grapes from farmers, from vineyards in those areas. We then transport the berry from those particular vineyards to the city. So we're making the wine here in Chicago. We're making the wine in New York.
But the live music at City Winery is a big deal too. Michael attracts plenty of indie music talent using those same artist-friendly techniques he developed at the Knitting Factory.
To make sure the sight lines were great, that the sound system was as fantastic as possible, that we don't talk and try and serve more drinks and be loud and disturb the artists on the stage. Like, we've effectively built a much better mousetrap for everybody.
Even on a chilly fall morning in Chicago, this City Winery location on the city's Riverwalk is hopping. The dome concept, heated zip-up plastic igloos, had never been tried before in Chicago, and they are hugely popular in the winter. And in the summertime, this place is packed with revelers and pop-up live music. And the city's jet set and the wannabes dock their boats right out in front.
That's sexy and all that, sure, but that's not who we are.
Right.
We're a little more down to earth on that.
Dorf says city wineries are eventually coming to Detroit, Denver, Toronto, and London. And he's got his eye on other places, including St. Louis and his hometown of Milwaukee. Can it be too much? I know you don't want to be like McDonald's. You want to keep it unique. Can you still keep that unique feel and still expand to all these different cities?
Yes. The team is key. Brand integrity is key. But absolutely.
On this day, Michael is signing copies of his new book.
I've been a fan of yours since the Knitting Factory.
It's about how you can bury your face in your device if you want to find a place like City Winery. But once you get in the door, you should be so blown away by the music and the drinks and the ambiance that you never even want to raise up your phone. Just your wine glass. Andy Rosen, I-24 News, Chicago.